I turned 65 on a Tuesday in October, and not a single one of my 3 children showed up. My name is Patricia Walsh, and I spent 35 years raising 3 kids. I sacrificed everything for them. My career as a nurse, my dreams, my savings. I put all 3 through college without student loans, helped with down payments on their houses, babysat my grandchildren for free while they built their careers. I was the mom who showed up to every game, every recital, every graduation. And on my 65th birthday, I sat alone in my house with a cake I'd baked myself, waiting for children who never came. My daughter Lauren texted at 8 p.m. "Sorry, Mom, work emergency." Rain check. My son Michael didn't text at all. My youngest, David, sent a generic happy birthday gif at midnight. I told myself it was fine. They were busy. They have lives. That's what I'd raised them for. To be independent, successful, not to babysit their aging mother. But it wasn't fine, because this wasn't the first time. It was a pattern that had been building for 2 years, ever since my husband Thomas died of a heart attack. Thomas had been my partner for 42 years. When he died, I thought my children would step up, help me navigate widowhood, be there during the grief. Instead, they disappeared. Phone calls became monthly instead of weekly. Visits became occasional instead of regular. Invitations to family dinners went unanswered. "Mom, we're really busy," Lauren would say. "The kids have activities. Work is crazy." You understand. I did understand, until I started noticing other things, like how Lauren stopped asking me to babysit my grandchildren, even though I'd been their primary childcare for 5 years. Suddenly, she'd found a great nanny and didn't need my help anymore. Like how Michael stopped returning my calls, but posted photos on Facebook of family dinners I wasn't invited to. Like how David, who I'd helped buy his first house just 3 years ago with a $50,000 loan from my retirement savings, suddenly couldn't find time to help me fix my leaking roof. I was becoming invisible, erased from the lives I created. But I didn't know why. Not yet. That revelation would come 3 weeks after my lonely birthday, when I overheard a conversation I was never meant to hear. A conversation that would shatter everything I thought I knew about my family, about my children, about myself, about the lie I'd been living for 65 years. It happened at Thanksgiving. I wasn't supposed to be there. Lauren was hosting, my first invitation to a family event in months. I was so excited I arrived 30 minutes early, clutching the pumpkin pie I'd spent all morning making from scratch. When no one answered the doorbell, I used the spare key Lauren had given me years ago for emergencies. That's when I heard voices in the kitchen. Lauren, Michael, and David, my 3 children, together talking. About me. I froze in the entryway, hidden by the wall. "I'm serious. We need to talk about Mom," Lauren was saying. Her voice had an edge I'd never heard before. Frustrated, annoyed. She's becoming a burden. The constant calls, the guilt trips. She called me 3 times last week, Michael interrupted. 3 times. To ask me to help her with her computer. "I have my own family to deal with." "At least she calls you," David said bitterly. "She texts me daily asking when I'm going to pay back that money. It's been 3 years. She acts like I owe her something." "You do owe her," Lauren snapped. "We all do. That's the problem. She won't let us forget it. Every conversation is, I sacrificed so much for you kids. I gave up my career. I paid for your education. Like we asked for any of it." My heart stopped. The pie slipped from my hands and hit the floor with a crash. The kitchen went silent. Then Lauren appeared in the doorway, her face flushing when she saw me standing there, surrounded by pumpkin filling. "Mom, we didn't know you were." "I heard everything," I said quietly. My voice didn't even sound like mine. "Everything you said about me." "Mom, it's not what it sounded like. You think I'm a burden. It wasn't a question. You resent everything I did for you. The sacrifices I made, You think I hold them over your heads? Michael and David had come into the hallway now. Michael wouldn't meet my eyes. David looked defiant. Mom, we just meant that sometimes you can be a lot, Lauren said carefully. You have to understand, we have our own lives now. We can't drop everything every time you need something. I called you 3 times last week because I thought I was having a heart attack, I said to Michael. Turned out to be a panic attack. But you didn't know that. You didn't call back. His face paled. Mom, and you, I turned to David, that $50,000? I called it a loan, but I never expected you to pay it back. I just hoped you'd remember it when I needed help. Like when my roof was leaking and you were too busy. That's exactly what we mean. David exploded. You keep score. Everything you do for us comes with strings attached. The words hung in the air like poison. I looked at my 3 children, the babies I'd rocked to sleep, the teenagers I'd stayed up worrying about, the adults I'd helped build their lives, and realized they saw me as an obligation. A burden, a guilt trip. I picked up my purse and walked out. Behind me, Lauren called my name, but I didn't turn around. I drove home, and for the first time in my life, I understood what true loneliness felt like. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, I had a stroke. Not a major one. The doctors called it a TIA, a mini stroke, but it was terrifying. I was home alone, making coffee, when suddenly my left arm went numb and my vision blurred. I managed to call 911 before I collapsed. I woke up in the hospital with machines beeping around me. The nurse asked if I had emergency contacts. I gave her my children's numbers. Lauren showed up 6 hours later, still in her work clothes, looking annoyed. Mom, the hospital said it wasn't serious. Why did you have them call me at work? I had a stroke, I said, my words slightly slurred. The doctors said it would improve. A mini stroke. You're fine. They're releasing you tomorrow. She checked her phone. I have to get back. The kids have soccer practice. Can you stay? Just for a while? She sighed, that deep, put-upon sigh I'd heard on Thanksgiving. Mom, I really can't, but I'll come by tomorrow to take you home. She didn't come. She texted instead. Can you Uber home? Emergency at work. Michael visited briefly, brought flowers, and spent the entire 15 minutes on his phone with work calls. He didn't ask how I was feeling. Didn't ask what cost it. Just handed me the flowers and left. David didn't visit at all. He sent a text. Glad you're okay. Mom, let me know if you need anything. I texted back asking if he could help me around the house for a few days while I recovered. He read it, didn't respond. I Ubered home to an empty house. No one had cleaned up the coffee I'd spilled when I collapsed. No one had made sure I had groceries. No one had checked if I could manage stairs or if I needed help with medications. I was 65 years old, recovering from a stroke, completely alone. That night, sitting in my dark living room, unable to sleep because I was terrified of having another stroke with no one to help me, I made a decision. I pulled out my laptop and started researching something I never thought I'd need to research. How to change a will. Because if my children saw me as a burden, if they couldn't be bothered to show up when I was literally in the hospital, why was I leaving them everything I had? The house, the life insurance, the savings account I'd been carefully managing. They wanted independence from me. They get it. Complete and total independence, including financial independence from my inheritance. But first, I needed to see just how far their neglect would go. I needed to test them, and I had a plan. I called it the experiment. A month after my stroke, fully recovered but fundamentally changed, I decided to see if my children would notice if I simply stopped trying. No more phone calls. No more texts checking in. No more birthday cards with checks enclosed. No more offers to babysit, to help, to be involved. I would wait and see how long it took them to reach out to me. Week 1, silence. Not a single call. Week 2, Lauren texted asking if I could watch her kids on Saturday. I replied, "Sorry, I have plans." She didn't ask what plans. Didn't ask how I was feeling. Just replied, "K," and that was it. Week 3, David's birthday. For the first time in 32 years, I didn't send a card or money. He didn't call to ask why. Week 4, Michael sent a mass text to the whole family about some work achievement. I didn't respond. No one noticed. By week 6, I realized something devastating. If I disappeared tomorrow, my children wouldn't notice for days, maybe weeks, maybe not until there was paperwork to deal with or an inheritance to claim. During those 6 weeks, I kept busy. I met with my lawyer, Richard Torres, a man I'd known through church for 20 years. I explained everything: the Thanksgiving conversation, the stroke, the abandonment. I want to change my will, I told him. I want to leave everything to charity. Medical research. Anything but them. Richard looked at me carefully. "Patricia, I've known you a long time. Are you sure? These are your children. They made it clear I'm a burden. Why should burdens leave inheritances?" He drafted the new will. My house worth, $450,000 would be sold and proceeds donated to stroke research. My life insurance, $200,000 to a nursing home charity. My savings, $180,000 to put underprivileged kids through nursing school. The career I'd given up to raise my own children. Total inheritance my children would receive, $0. But I didn't sign it yet. I wanted to try one more thing. Christmas was coming. The first Christmas since Thomas died. I sent a group text. "I'd love to host Christmas dinner at my house. Please come. I miss you all. Lauren, we're going to Brian's family this year. Michael, Amy's parents are expecting us. David, I'm going skiing with friends." Not one of them said, "Maybe we can visit another day." Not one said, "Sorry, we can't make it." Just 3 casual rejections. Like I'd invited them to a neighborhood barbecue instead of begged them to spend Christmas with their widowed, stroke-surviving mother. I signed the will the next day. And then I did something else. Something they'd never expect. I wrote them each a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real handwritten letter that I mailed on December 26th. The letters were identical. "Dear, I've been doing a lot of thinking since Thanksgiving. You were right. I have been keeping score. I did hold my sacrifices over your heads. I expected too much, called too often, and made you feel guilty when you couldn't drop everything for me. Asterisk. I'm writing to apologize and to let you know I understand now. You have your own lives, your own families, your own priorities. As your mother, I should have recognized that sooner, instead of clinging to a relationship you'd outgrown. Asterisk. So I'm setting you free. No more guilt trips. No more expectations. No more burden. Asterisk. I've changed my will. Everything I have will be going to charity when I die. I know that might surprise you, but I realize my greatest legacy isn't money or property. It's the 3 independent, successful adults I raised. You don't need an inheritance from me. You've already inherited everything that matters. Your intelligence, your work ethic, your values. Asterisk. I'm proud of you. I always will be. And I release you from any obligation you might feel toward me. Live your lives. Be happy. That's all I ever wanted for you anyway. Asterisk. Love. Mom. I expected something: guilt, anger, a phone call, a visit, some reaction. Lauren texted 3 days later. "Got your letter." "Thanks, Mom. That's really mature of you." Michael called briefly. "Hey, Mom. Got your letter. I appreciate you understanding. Talk soon." David didn't respond at all. They thought I was giving them permission to forget about me. They thought I was making their lives easier. What they didn't realize was that I had just told them I was disinheriting them, and not one of them had asked why. Not one had said, "Mom, I don't care about the money." Not one had tried to repair our relationship. Their responses told me everything I needed to know. They were relieved. Relieved they didn't have to pretend anymore. Relieved they didn't have to call or visit or care. Relieved they wouldn't inherit the burden of an aging mother along with her estate. But I wasn't done, because I had discovered something during my weeks of silence. I'd found a community, other widows, other abandoned parents, other people whose children had disappeared into their busy lives. We met weekly at the senior center, shared meals, shared stories, shared the grief of being forgotten by the people we'd loved most. Then one of them gave me an idea, a way to show my children exactly what they'd lost. Her name was Margaret Chun, 72, and she'd been estranged from her daughter for 5 years over a disagreement about grandchildren. My daughter said I was too critical. Margaret told me over coffee. Maybe I was, but now I'll never know my grandchildren. And you know what the worst part is? I have so much love to give and nowhere to put it. That's when it clicked. I had resources, money, time, a big house. Margaret and others like her had love and loneliness. And there were young people out there who needed both. I started volunteering at the local Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Got matched with a teenager named Sophia, 15, whose mother had died and whose father was struggling. I became her mentor, took her to museums, helped with homework, taught her to bake. She called me Miss Patricia at first, but within months, she was calling me something else. "Thanks, Grandma Pat," she said one day, so naturally I almost cried. I met her father, Daniel, a widower overwhelmed with grief and single parenthood. I started inviting them for Sunday dinners. Then Margaret started coming. Then other friends from the senior center. Soon, my dining room table, empty for so long, was full every weekend. I helped Daniel find grief counseling, helped Sophia apply to colleges. When Daniel's car broke down and he couldn't afford repairs, I paid for it. Not as a loan, as a gift, because that's what family does. And slowly, I built a new family, one that actually wanted me around. I posted about it on Facebook, photos of Sunday dinners, of Sophia's achievements, of outings with Margaret and the others. I wrote about how grateful I was to have found my people after Thomas died, how blessed I was to have such wonderful friends who'd become family. Lauren saw the posts. I know because she confronted me about it. "Mom, who are these people? Why are you giving them money? What about Sophia? Are you paying for her college?" "Yes," I said simply. "But Mom, that's your inheritance. You can't just give it away to strangers." There it was. The truth. They didn't call, didn't visit, didn't care until they thought their money was going to someone else. Actually, I can. It's my money. And they're not strangers. They're my family now. The family that shows up. "This is insane," Lauren sputtered. "Michael, David, and I need to talk to you." "I'm free next Sunday," I said. "Come for dinner. I'm making pot roast." She showed up. So did Michael and David, the first family dinner in over a year. And they came because they were suddenly very interested in my money. They sat at my dining room table, the same table where I'd overheard them call me a burden, and pretended this was a casual family dinner. But I could see the calculation in their eyes, the concern, the greed. "So, Mom," Michael started carefully, "Lauren mentioned you've been spending a lot of money on new friends." "I have," I said cheerfully. "It's been wonderful. I feel like I have a family again." David shifted uncomfortably. "But you do have a family, us." I looked at him. Really looked at him. "Do I? When's the last time you called me, David? When's the last time any of you visited without an ulterior motive?" Silence. We've been busy, Mom, Lauren said. You know that. We have jobs, kids. I had a stroke 4 months ago, I interrupted. Do you remember what you did? Lauren, you stayed 15 minutes. Michael, you answered work calls the entire time. David, you didn't show up at all. I Ubered home from the hospital, alone. We didn't know it was that serious. You didn't miss Kay. My voice was steady now, clear. You didn't care. Until you saw me spending my money on people who actually want to spend time with me. That's not fair, Michael protested. We love you. We just have busy lives. I know. You made that very clear on Thanksgiving. When you called me a burden. When you said I keep score. When you resented every sacrifice I made for you. They had the decency to look ashamed. For about 3 seconds. Mom, we're sorry, Lauren said, but it didn't sound sorry. It sounded strategic. We handled things badly, but you can't just cut us out and give everything to strangers. We're your children, and when I needed you to act like my children, where were you? None of them had an answer. I want to make something very clear, I said, standing up. My will has been changed. Everything I have, my house, my savings, my life insurance, is going to charity and to the people who've actually been there for me. You will inherit nothing. You can't do that. David stood up, angry now. We're your family. That money should be ours. Why? I asked. Give me one good reason why you deserve it. Not because you're my children, because you've been good children, because you've cared about me, because you've been there when I needed you. They couldn't, because they hadn't been. Get out, I said quietly. All of you. And don't come back unless you can honestly tell me you want a relationship with me. Not my money. They left, angry, shocked, indignant, and I felt free for the first time in years. They tried. I'll give them that much. Lauren called 3 days later. Mom, I've been thinking about what you said. You're right. We haven't been there for you. I want to fix that. Okay, I said. How? Long pause. We could have lunch? Next week, maybe. I'm busy next week. Helping Sophia with college applications. The week after. Margaret and I are going to a museum. You're welcome to join us. Silence. She didn't want to meet my new family. She wanted me to herself. Or, more accurately, she wanted to convince me to change my will back. Michael sent flowers with a card. I'm sorry I wasn't there after your stroke. Let me make it up to you. He didn't call. Didn't visit. Just sent flowers and expected that to fix 65 years of being his mother and 4 months of being forgotten. David was the most honest. He called drunk one night. You're really going to give everything to strangers? To some random kid who's not even your blood? That's so messed up, Mom. We're your children. That money should be ours. Dad worked his whole life for it. Dad left it to me, I said calmly, to do with as I please. And it pleases me to give it to people who don't see me as a burden or a bank account. He hung up on me. The months that followed showed me everything I needed to know. Lauren visited twice, both times asking pointed questions about Sophia and Daniel, about how much I was investing in them. Michael sent occasional texts, but never followed through on plans. David didn't contact me at all. They weren't trying to rebuild our relationship. They were trying to protect their inheritance. Meanwhile, Sophia got accepted to nursing school, my dream career, the one I'd given up to raise children who now couldn't stand me. I cried with joy when she told me, cried harder when she said, I couldn't have done it without you. Grandma Pat, you believed in me when no one else did. Daniel asked if I'd walk Sophia down the aisle someday when she got married, since her mother was gone. I said yes through tears. Margaret and I took a trip to Italy, something I'd always wanted to do, but Thomas never had time for. We were gone 3 weeks. Not one of my children called to check on me. They found out from Facebook that I was back. But here's the thing about building a new family. They showed me what family is supposed to feel like, and it made me realize what I'd lost, or more accurately, what I'd never had with my own children. So I did one final thing, something they'd remember for the rest of their lives. I invited them to my house one last time, a year after that first confrontation. I told them it was important that we needed to talk. They came all three together, presenting a united front. They'd even brought their spouses. Sat in my living room looking nervous and expectant. I've been thinking about our family I started, about the last year, about the letter I wrote you and the will I changed. Lauren leaned forward. Mom, we've all had time to think too. We want to do better. Be better, we miss you. Do you? I asked. Or do you miss what you think you'll inherit? That's not fair. Let me finish. I pulled out a folder. This is my medical file. I saw my doctor last month. Unhealthy. No signs of another stroke. My mind is sharp. I could live another 20, 30 years. I watched the hope drain from their faces. They'd been counting on me dying soon. On this being a short-term problem, they could wait out. During that time, I continued. I planned to live my life fully. Travel, volunteer, help Sophia for nursing school and beyond. Maybe help Daniel start the business he's always dreamed of. Support Margaret and my other friends as we age together. By spending OU our inheritance, David said bitterly. By spending my money on people who treat me like a human being instead of a trust fund with a pulse. The room went silent. I asked you here today because I wanted to tell you something. I forgive you. They looked surprised. I forgive you for resenting the sacrifices I made, for seeing my love as obligation, for disappearing when I needed you most. I forgive you because holding on to anger only hurts me, not you. Lauren started to cry. Mom, but forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean pretending nothing happened. The will stands. When I die, everything goes to charity and to the family. I've chosen the family that chose me back. But we're choosing you now. Michael protested. Now that you know the alternative, I said sadly, that's not love. That's not even obligation. That's just greed. I stood up. You're welcome to be part of my life if you want. Real part, not just Facebook comments and occasional texts. But understand this. I'm not changing the will, ever. So if that's the only reason you're here, you can leave now. Michael left immediately. David followed after a moment of hesitation. Lauren stayed, crying. I'm so sorry, Mom, for everything. I don't care about the money. I miss my mom. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still does. But actions speak louder than words, and her actions for the past 2 years had been screaming. I'm 67 now. 2 years since I changed my will. 2 years since I built a new family from scratch. Sophia graduated nursing school last month. I was in the front row, crying proud tears. She introduced me to her boyfriend as my grandma, not my mentor, or my friend, her grandma. That's what I am to her. Daniel's business is thriving. He cooks Sunday dinner at my house now, says it's his turn to take care of me. Margaret moved into my guest room last year after a fall. We're roommates, 2 widows navigating life together. My biological children, Lauren texts occasionally, sends photos of my grandchildren kids I barely know anymore. She invites me to birthday parties, but I can tell it's obligatory. Michael sends a card on Mother's Day. David doesn't contact me at all. They'll learn about the will when I die. They'll read the part where I explain why, not out of spite, but out of a simple truth. Family is who shows up. Family is who loves you when it's inconvenient. Family is who sees you as a person, not a burden or a bank account.
I hope it teaches them something. I hope they look at their own children and realize that love is a verb, not a noun. That I'm too busy said too many times eventually means, I don't care enough. But mostly I've stopped hoping for them. Stopped waiting for phone calls that won't come. Stopped checking Facebook for acknowledgement. Stopped living my life around people who don't want me in theirs. Instead, I live for Sunday dinners with people who laugh at my stories. For helping Sophia become the nurse I never got to be. For traveling with Margaret to places we dreamed about. For being the grandmother to kids who aren't my blood but are absolutely my family. People ask if I regret it. Disinheriting my children. Creating a new family. Choosing strangers over blood. I don't. Not for a second. Because I didn't choose strangers. I chose people who chose me back. I chose love that doesn't come with resentment. I chose family that actually feels like family. And I'd make the same choice again. Every single time. The end.